Where are my bed sheets? Hello? Hello?
It was good of you to have made it this far.
Who are you?
I knew somehow you'd come.
This is where I live. Are you wearing my bed sheets?
Mortal minds cannot resist the jewel of temptation.
You're dragging them on the ground. Those are clean sheets. You're dragging them in the dirt and stuff.
As ransom for your goods, I require a sacrifice. An idol in my image that shall be worshipped in the cult of Flea Man.
Sorry, Flea Man? Why would you call yourself that? Listen, yeah, while I would normally love to do that for you, it's just that, ew, gross, no, don't put that in your mouth. Oh, God, okay. The thing is, that would probably take me like a day or two, and I really want to sleep in my bed, so...
Sleep with me!
What?
What?
Okay. I'll go make your thing. Give me a few hours.
Weirdo. Alright, I guess we're making a Flea Man today. We're gonna need a, I don't know, socks, some tan ones, maybe a purple one, penguin ones. It looks kind of like a penguin, like Danny DeVito's penguin. What else? I know I got some other crap lying around. Okay, I got an old t-shirt. I got some scraps of faux leather. And then some of the usual business, some stuffing. Gonna need some needle, some thread, scissors, and the rest of my stuff. So let's go! I had other things I wanted to do today. First off, to achieve the nuance of Flea Man's face, I've got a piece of stocking. You know how you go into your DSW or Foot Locker or whatever, and they have those foot socks you can wear when you try on shoes? Steal those. Just walk in and take them. Or grab some old stockings, whatever. Just stuff one of those things nice and full, then we'll close it up with the ladder stitch. Climb that ladder, baby. Cross the thread over your seam like the leg of a ladder, then up like the rung of a ladder. Back and forth till you've closed up your seam. It's a simple and effective stitch. This is meant to close the seam in on itself from the outside, so the edges of the seam are concealed, but no one's going to see this part, so we can really do whatever we want. Next, we're going to sculpt the face by pushing our needle just back and forth to pull out the disgusting features of our Flea Man. There's quite a bit of room for play, because the whole thing will get covered by a traditional sock in a minute. Let's define the brows to help sync the eyes and also pronounce the cheekbones. It doesn't look like much, but the end result will be effective, albeit disturbing. Now to test out how the stock will stretch over and see how much we need. I'm used to a bit of improvisation with my dolls, but this one is really right off the cuff. An important quality to get right is the mouth, so I've got this string of stone beads that I was going to use for something nicer than this, but sometimes life throws you a curveball, you know? Sometimes you got a goblin in your basement, so I've got some pink felt scrap, cut a rectangle out of that, and we'll sew that onto the face using the running stitch. Super simple stitch, let's go! Dip your needle into your fabric so that you'll peek through the other fabric that you'll be joining, and back again. Dipping in and out like a kind of simile that I can't come up with. Once the felt has been sewn on, we can start lining up our little rocks. I've got a few pins to hold them in place while I make sure they fill out the mouth properly. I'm leaving a few gaps and crookedness and some varying lengths just to drive out how gross this guy is. There's no true method I've got for sewing on the teeth. It's more just trying to keep them tight against the mouth, so I'm looping around both sides of the tooth and dipping into the felt backing every time. And to close up the mouth, I'm using some super glue, because when you don't want to sew through it, you might as well glue it. This sets pretty quickly, so there's not a lot of pressing to do. Add a few more strips of felt to comprise the gums, those vile pink graveyards that live in his mouth, and we'll have ourselves a real dentist catastrophe. Okay, now we can cover the head with skin. I'm not sure how I want to go about this, so I'm filling it out a little bit, thinking I'll just cut a hole in the center to expose the teeth. Then I pull up the bottom a little and woof, oh jeez. It's just too awful not to use. There's my answer, so I'm taking advantage of the folds I happen to make, and I'm using the ladder stitch to secure the lips to the mouth, and just tacking around the wrinkles. By tacking, I mean I'm only dipping the thread in once or twice to hold the pieces together, but if I do more than that, I could lose the effect of all those wrinkles. Yeah, this is gross. Okay, now I need to sort of trace my ridges from the stocking with my tan sock, so I'm passing that needle back and forth, shaping the real face. The nose I want an extension for, so let's cut a triangle out of our sock scrap. Flip that inside out and stitch it almost closed. Flip it right side out again and stuff it and stitch it to the face. Add a little bit of stuffing on the brow, build that out more. Great. And stitch that closed. So I've got this purple sock. Let's take some little squares out of that and shape them into some dark bags for the eye sockets. I'm going to start by stitching from underneath and folding this piece over to ladder stitch around the outside. This way, all of my edges will be tucked in. I've pulled some bulging yellow buttons for the eyes, anchor into the center point with some yellow thread. Let's stitch those on with what kind of looks like a bell curve. The anchor points are on the bottom and the button is at the top. When we're done, we'll anchor with a knot like any other stitch so the eye doesn't end up falling out. And for a little more dimension, I'm going to take some more purple sock and ladder stitch a small tube. 2 pieces, a little more than the width of the eye. Everybody welcome back our super glue. I won't attempt to stitch these on if gluing them is way easier. Alright, the head is finally complete. Let's get working on the rest of it. I'm gonna make his I'm gonna make his body. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about his naked body. Okay, we're back. I'm gonna cut the rest of this tan sock more or less in half with a rounded bottom. It looks short compared to his head, but remember he's got that camel hump, which can be made rather conveniently by the heel of the sock. Now I'll use the running stitch to close up the bottom, and the hole at the top is a little big, so I'm just going to stitch that about halfway up, roughly the size of the head. Stuff it, really fill it up. Looks like a pinto bean. And then ladder stitch will go around the neck to join our pieces together. So I've got another tan sock to make Flea Man's nasty arms. From the opening of the sock, I'll cut about halfway down to the heel and, I don't know. I guess let's flip it inside out. I'll stitch both arms and then cut them out. Let's do like half the arm really thin and then bulb out towards the hand like those anime snot dribbles. Then we can cut them loose and flip them right side out again with help from our handy chopstick. These will be stuffed. Again, the chopstick is useful. And then we need to make a bunch of little fingers, which are the same design principle as the arms, only much smaller and way more frustrating to make. So while I planned on making 10, I stopped at 8. We'll stitch these to the hand one by one. I'm having trouble with the direction of the fingers, so I've run some thread up and down the length of some fingers and pulled down to give them some extra curvature. Now those are done, I need to make some nightmarish flea haunches. I'm gonna spare myself the thought of his naked legs and just make these trouser colored. Feet first, we'll cut out the heel side and the toe side to give us a little curve to start. The feet in general, I'll stitch in like an eggplant shape. This time I'll close them all the way up, and to flip them, I'll cut a notch into the top because, you know, I'm smart or something. The pattern for the legs isn't anything particularly new, just 2 long U-shapes with an opening at the top, so when we cut the legs loose, we can flip and stuff and all that good jazz. Because he's all hunched over, we're going to use a ladder stitch to bring the legs into about a 90-degree position, and then it's just a quick ladder stitch around the ankle to join them. Now I'm going to pull out my faux leather, vinyl, really, and after turning one of my small squares into unusable strips, I decided it was better off to take the big piece of vinyl leather and make a long single strip for each leg. I've doubled it over to cut because I'm lazy, and also I'll get an uneven width, which will wrap in an interesting way. Speaking of wrapping, that's what these strips are for. I started off by tacking a strip to the toe, but then I remembered an old adage about gluing things. In a few choice places, I dabbed some superglue to the leg and to the strip, leaving some parts exposed, some double layered, spice it up, you know? And I'll stitch that to the bottom to the rest of the doll, using the ladder stitch to pull the width of the legs in nice and close. The arms I folded over a little bit. They were slightly too long, and I liked the added fullness to the shoulders, as much as I could like something involving the inbred spawn of Satan. We are so close. All that's left is to make a cloak to cover his... Oh god. Oh, do you think he's naked underneath my bed sheets? Oh, Alright, I've got some old t-shirt here, and I'm just looking to cut a bunch of random scraps out of it, and vaguely sticking them into the general shape of a cloak. I don't really make clothes, so it's good that I can get away with something that is this free-formed. Most of my stitching is from the inside, but if some of the stitching and some of the seams are on the outside, I think that's just as well. Along all of the edges I've cut in a jagged fashion, so everything is uneven and ill-fitting. A little extra top stitching can also help make the cloak look patchwork. And I'm just going to do this wherever I feel it's right. I've been really eyeing this entire project, so. And a little added touch is some marker to redden his bulbous nose. I'm using a Prismacolor Peach marker and then a colorless blender to soften its effect. All about subtlety here with this doll. Finally, to age the cloak a little bit more, I'll take my needle and scissors and really tear up the bottom of it, around the cuffs and over the hood as well. Then we can take the doll down to the basement and put this curse to bed.
Monster! Come out, Flea Man, for I have brought your offering.
I knew you would return. Oh my god, what happened to you?
I have brought your... What?
What?
Why say you this?
No, I mean, you look weird. I don't understand. What were you doing?
I have gone through many trials and tribulations to bring you this doll.
Why is your hair so long? You were only gone for like 8 hours.
I have been changed by dark magic. And it's just supposed to be cool.
And you have something on your face.
No, that's like a scar, like Trevor Belmont.
Trevor Belmont?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm like a
What
Belmont.
are you saying? That's just
it's
weird.
Like I went through the trials and I fought
You don't look like a Belmont at all. You're just this shirtless guy wearing a sock over his head. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to offend you. It's just that I'm just trying to look out for you. I just thought we had a connection.
No! Just take your stupid thing and get out of here. Am I done? Are you gonna leave? Are you done? As I said, are you done?
All right. You've kept your end of the bargain. I will leave you now.
Okay, great. Goodbye.
But your blanket, you will have to come get.
Have a nice life. No, wait, give me back my blanket. No, you're walking away with my blanket. Give it back. You're going the wrong way. You can't even get out that way. It's just a dead end back there. It's just a closet. There's a bunch of closets back there. Hello? You're going the wrong way. You can't get out. I don't want to go back there and touch you because you're gross. Just give me back my blanket. Hey! Hey, my blanket! Hey! Come on, man. I just wanna go to bed. It's been a long day.